real quick, you're not lazy. That's the first thing I want to say. But you might be asking yourself, why do I not trust myself? There's a reason for it, and it's not what you think it is. There's a reason that you don't trust yourself, and it's not because you're lazy. When it comes to getting things done, when it comes to hitting the markers that you want to hit in life to become a version of your highest self, it's not because you're lazy. You being lazy has nothing to do with why you're not able to do the things that are necessary for you to become the highest version of yourself. There is a reason, though. The reason that you don't trust yourself to become the highest version of yourself is really simply this. You have broken small promises to yourself over a long period of time. In fact, I like to say that people don't become who they are overnight. Some people might say Rome wasn't built in a day, but for the sake of what I'm telling you, you didn't become who you are overnight. In fact, how old are you? That is how long it has taken for you to become who you are. So you just can't simply imagine that you getting a burst of motivation is going to somehow cause you to become that highest version of yourself that you want to be. You can't imagine that self-affirmation is going to give you the tools that it takes to become the version of yourself, that highest version that you want to be. Because what happened is that you, over time, have made small promises to yourself. For example, you know what? I'm going to wake up 30 minutes earlier, an hour earlier to go work out. You know what? I'm going to go to the gym 3 times a day. You know what? I'm going to eat healthier food. You know what? I'm going to stop drinking as much. You know what? I'm not going to do X, Y, Z, or I'm going to do X, Y, Z. And you've broken those promises. And it could be small promises that you break. It doesn't have to be self-destructive promises or anything like that. It could be just the smallest promise to yourself that you internally make, that you broke the promise. So what happens when you break that promise to yourself is your word, the integrity of your word starts to become less and less in your own mind. So the value of your word to yourself becomes less valuable. And when that happens, you begin a process of not trusting yourself. So it's not that you have done anything wrong. It's the weight of what you have done on your own shoulders that you do not trust your own word. But you can do something about it. And what do? Well, you begin with one promise to yourself. Make it very small, but you keep that one promise. And you start with day 1. So whatever that one promise is, you make it, and you have to decide to make it. It can't be a thought. It has to be a decision. And there's a difference. I can have a passing thought about anything I want. I would like to have $1 million. That's a passing thought. A decision is, I'm going to do a specific action to start me on the journey of making $1 million. And that action has to be so specific and so intentional that it can, in fact, cascade into a series of subsequent decisions that will in fact lead me to that goal. But it starts with one small decision. That one small decision might be, I am going to wake up, instead of waking up at 6 a.m., I am going to wake up at 5:30 a.m. And for that 30-minute window that I have, I'm not going to sit there and, scroll my phone. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, let's say, take in some information that I need for 30 minutes. Or instead of doing something that doesn't make any headway to my goal, I'm going to do something specifically to reach me to my goal. If it's fitness, let's say, I am going to get up and I'm going to walk for 30 minutes. Or I'm going to do a workout at home. I'm going to do push-ups. I'm going to do something. Whatever it might be, I'm going to do it. So, of course, it depends on your goal. Depends on what it is you're trying to accomplish. But one small decision is all it takes. It doesn't have to be 30 minutes, by the way. It could be something less than that. But my point is, you begin to make a small decision. And what happened is, once you are able to keep your word to yourself, making that small decision, you start to build trust in yourself again. You start to build confidence in yourself again. And now your word becomes more valuable inside of you. You now can rely on your own word. And that's very important, that you are able to rely on your own word. So now when you say something, you know inside that you mean it. See, there's the difference. You have to mean what you say and say what you mean. That starts with small promises to yourself. You make that promise to yourself, you keep it. But it needs to be small because it needs to be achievable. And then from there, you make another small promise to yourself. And you stack a series of small promises to yourself. That's what you do. You stack small promises. That's it. That's it. You start small. Let's say, for example, let's go with the getting up early small promise. Instead of it being 30 minutes, let's say you decide, I'm going to wake up 15 minutes earlier. And with that 15 extra minutes, I'm going to do specific action X, right? And you do that. You do that every day or whatever days you choose. Maybe it's once a week, whatever it is, doesn't matter, but you do it. And then the next small decision you make is, you know what? Now I'm going to wake up 30 minutes. And you do that. And then after that, 45 minutes. And then after that, an hour. Or perhaps somewhere during the day, you're going to carve out a specific time to do a specific action for yourself. You're going to make that promise. You're going to do it. Maybe you tell Siri to set that alarm for whatever that action is. And then boom, that's going to help you to, take that action. Whatever you got to do, that's what you do. But my point is this: you have to learn to trust your own word in order to reach the goal that you have set for yourself, in order to become the highest version of yourself. You can never become the highest version of yourself if you don't trust yourself, if you don't add weight and value to your own word internally. And you know what happens when you do that? Miraculously, your word becomes more valuable externally, because you are not only doing what you say and saying what you do for yourself, that actually will translate into how you live your life when it comes to dealing with others. So now, for example, if you're trying to make that $1 million, like I mentioned, well, because you do it with yourself, you say what you mean and mean what you say, you keep promises to yourself, that's going to also translate into business. It's going to translate into whatever it is you're doing to make revenue. You're going to show up, you're going to show out, and you're going to make things happen. on the external because you're doing it on the internal. You see what I mean? So this is just a stream of consciousness for you to think about. You can do what it is you want to do. You can become the highest version of yourself that you want to become. It ain't about nothing but you trusting your own word. Once you start making these small decisions, you will become the person that you are meant to be. You got me? Now go be it.